Good evening, everybody. Welcome to League of Europe, round number 4 of the season, and we are taking in the Red Bull Ring for tonight's race at the Austrian Grand Prix. Will we see our 4th different winner of the season? Will we see our 3rd wet race in a row? If you weren't with us last time out, it did, of course, start wet at the start of the Portuguese Grand Prix, but it was a victory in Austria last time out for Kango Con. A brilliant performance by the McLaren team, who I'm sure you've all seen releasing their livery in the last few minutes. Great performance from the McLaren team, with Bloodwinds finishing 2nd, making it a 1-2 for them, and a 3rd place for RJW Videos, meaning he shoots himself up in the championship, and unlike last time, he's actually able to keep this podium. So for the drivers' standings, I should say, as you can see, Kango Con is now on the top on 48 points. Velho, finishing in 4th last time out, was not enough to keep him on top of that championship. There's RJW Videos moving up into 3rd. XL Merckx is 4th. Bloodwinds gets into the top 5. Carter Lundy, our winner of the first race of the season, he is 6th. Marcus Towler, Rafa, Ollie, and J. Cole rounding out the top 10. Miami, J. Cole's teammate, both Aston Martins having scored points in all of the first 3 races. He's 11th. Alec is 12th. Bogan 13th. Sven 14th. Lucky Finger is 15th, and Petter is in 16th place. Tonight, though, it is, of course, the Austrian Grand Prix. That is what the drivers have facing them. They'll be hoping that they can put in a fairly reasonable performance around this. What is a very short circuit in terms of time? Definitely, it's one of the shortest full-time permanent circuits on the game. As we'll take a quick look at the Red Bull Ring in the Styrian Mountains, 4.318 kilometers, 2.683 miles. And the 10 corners, 7 to the right, 3 to the left, and it is those turn number 3 and turn number 4 at the top end of the circuit is where you will expect to see the majority of the overtaking. Let's not forget, half this track basically is a DRS zone. There is plenty of opportunity for the drivers to get some overtaking done tonight. Expect to see plenty of on-track action, even if we do get the rain that seems to be plaguing the LOA PC Championship at the moment. Hello to everyone joining us. Unfortunately, I don't think you'll be able to join to crash people out, so their day is ruined. And why would you want to? Hopefully, we'll get to see 36 laps of absolutely brilliant action here tonight at the Austrian Grand Prix. Just waiting then for the final few drivers to join the lobby. Shouldn't be too long before we are underway with qualifying, of course. If you're not familiar with how things work here, it is the same fare that you will have seen across many other leagues. Nothing really different. 18 minutes of qualifying, a 50% race, so that is 36 laps around here. And, as we did forget in the first couple of races, top 12 drivers do get points, of course, rather than the top 10. So that is an extra opportunity for some of those drivers that do find themselves normally a bit further down the order to really prove themselves and really put in a good performance. We are just waiting for, I think, the final player to ready up and pick their tyres, even though everyone does have the same choice of tyres, so I'm not really sure what that adds to anything. But yeah, we are just waiting for that final driver, and then we'll be able to get underway for the qualifying session. Let us know who you think is going to take the victory today. Let us know who you think is going to do well across all the rest of the tiers, of course. Let's not forget, it is the PS tiers tomorrow. Division 1, Division 3 and Division 4 at 6:30. And then at 8:10, it is Division 2 and Division 5. They'll be going through the action again around this circuit. You can see the calendar on there. Monaco next week should definitely be one to watch. Always an exciting league race. In the UK, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Australia, Belgium, Netherlands, Russia, the break week, and China, Hungary, Canada, Brazil, Abu Dhabi, finishing the season off in what feels like an absolute lifetime away. It will be a long, long time before we get ourselves into those final races of the season. But as we are going to start heading into the qualifying session, as you can see there, it is looking very miserable, very dull at the moment at the Red Bull Ring. So I do wonder if we are going to get any rain later on in the session, as we have got our first car coming out of the pit lane. That is going to be one of the Haas cars, and that is going to be the Sowell Haas tonight. Rafa, he did show some good performances at the start of last week's race. He's got, of course, a podium in round 1 of the season, 10th last time out. The only points that he's got, he'll be hoping to build in a good performance to kind of show what we've seen glimpses of so far this season. He'll be, as I imagine most of the drivers will after the last few weeks, he'll be desperately hoping that we just get a nice, steady, run-of-the-mill dry race. I think the majority of the field will do anything to hope that it stays dry. Can't imagine too many after what happened at France and definitely Portugal. Started off in the full wet conditions, ended up in slick tyres for the final few laps, so it was really difficult for the drivers to decide which strategies to go for. I'm sure they'll all be hoping tonight that they can get themselves just some nice, plain and simple driving, as we're soon going to go on board then with Rafa for a lap around this circuit. It's going to be fast. It's going to be furious. You esports drivers doing sub 63 seconds around this circuit in the Styrian Mountains. What can Rafa do? It's all about lining up, of course, trying to make sure you get the best possible run through the final corner to begin your lap. Expect to see a lot of drivers invalidating there as he crosses the finish line now, heading up the hill, down towards, well, up towards turn number 1. It's a possible overtaking opportunity, but probably won't see too many drivers go for it. Be careful on that curb on the exit as well. Can easily spin the car around, hugging the right-hand side. The easy flat-out left kink at turn number 2. Just a minor adjustment before you get to the braking zone there for turn number 3, as I believe that is XL Black Panther who's got it wrong coming through turn number 9. DRS open once more then for Rafa, heading down the hill towards turn number 4. Brake just after the 100-metre board, locking up that front right. Very easy to do. You just get away with it and comfortably hits the apex there. Flat out through turn number 5 and then 6 and 7. Really testing the grip of these Pirelli tyres. The right-hand tyres really starting to struggle. Now this part of the circuit runs a bit wide through turn number 7. Now flat out through turn number 8. Watch out for that bridge on the right-hand side. Watch out for the pit entry as well on this circuit. Always one that causes chaos. Rafa, though, nice and clean through turn number 9 into turn number 10. Doesn't invalidate his lap. And the half for our first time we're going to see in this session is a 104.999 for him. Carter he's on a lap at the moment, as his reserve teammate for tonight. Marcus Towler, he's invalidated. Would have been a 106.858. So can only imagine he's invalidated a lot earlier on his lap. And there we go, XL Velo on a 103.710. 103.718. Fastest time of all so far, as hopefully someone is able to invite James at the moment into the session. Cyperones then coming around the final corner. Here's another one that's invalidated, and it is turn number 1 in the final corner is where you're going to see the majority of the invalidations on this circuit. The final corner especially, extremely annoying, because you get it wrong there, that ruins your next lap as well, not just the one you're on. So if you were hoping to get 2 consecutive runs in, you can very early wipe both of them out in one go. XL Merc now just heading through the middle sector. Did take that fantastic victory at the French Grand Prix. Superb performance from him. Had good pace last time out when it dried up as well. Finished in the 7th place, getting himself a fastest lap in the process of that. Let's see what the Alfa Romeo can do here. Through turn number 9 into... Oh, just lucky finger there. I think maybe just caught him out in the dirty air. And that's something the drivers are going to have to watch out for. It's an extremely difficult track to follow another car from, especially through them final corners. The pit entry kind of just dumping you out into, as we've seen, that exit entry, I should say, just clashes with the apex of turn number 9. And it is always a very tricky thing for all of the drivers to really get used to, so that's what he's going to have to cope with. Morgan Ball now coming through the final corner. Well, final corners much cleaner than what we saw from XL Mercs earlier, except through that is the perfect example of what not to do at turn number 10 then. Just Morgan Paul getting it wrong, and as you see, that's your next lap ruined as well. So not too many drivers setting competitive times in these first few laps of the session, but it is Welho second, Bogan, the man who got pole position last time out in second, as Cartalondi on that second run does go fastest on a 103.703. Has had a pole position this season, as has Bogan. The only full-time driver to have had a pole this season is actually Shizu Brin, and he is not here tonight. He's taking part, I believe, in a 10-hour race on a set of Corsa at the weekend, so just getting some practice for that, as last week's race with a Kango Con slots himself up into 6th place. So it's Cartalondi, Velho, Bogan, Marcus Towler, Mert, Kango Con, J. Cole, Rafa, Lucky Finger, and Pitter, your top 10 drivers at the moment. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. We're now back fully operational and working as we should be. RJW Videos, a driver who he's had some bad luck. First race of the season, did see Rafa get a penalty removed, and unfortunately for him, as I'm not quite sure what is happening here. He seems to be taking it very slowly indeed. I'm not sure if he's just trying to crawl his way back into the pits, or he's getting ready to set another lap time. This is a yeah, it's very interesting for RJW at the moment. It hasn't set a time. Did get a third place last time out, and I think, again, a bit surprised to have managed that. Definitely went for a bit more of that strategy, starting with more of a wet setup, which turned out to be the right thing to do. It was wet considerably longer than what it was dry for. So great strategic work by RJW, and also generally very good at keeping it clean on penalties. Although, judging by the first 2 laps he's done around here, that just seems to have eluded him at the moment, as everyone's taking it very nice and easy at the moment. That's Kasu just getting out of the way of Kango Kon, who's on his way back into the pits. 10 minutes, 47 seconds remaining. It is Cartalundi from Velho, Bogin, Marcus Towler, and Merckx. The Merckx and Velo, the only 2 full-time drivers in that top 5 at the moment. Then it is Kango Kon, J. Cole, Rafa, Lucky Finger, and Petter in 10th. Sniper owns currently in 11th place. Yet to set a time. A lot of the drivers yet to set a time, but hopefully this time Owens might be able to do slightly better at keeping it clean. Just checking how he's done in the season so far. Sniper Owens 14th in his first race of the season, which was at France. 11th in Portugal, so picking up points last time out. There were only 12 finishers, but credit to him and Black Panther for carrying on. It does just show, even if you're having a difficult race, it's definitely worth going right until the very end. The Sniper Owens going right towards the very end of the track limits there. He gets himself up into 9th place at the moment, but we are starting to see more and more drivers going out on their laps. Kasu, probably the unluckiest driver in Portugal, was involved on a spin on lap number 1. Ended up with him facing the wrong way and getting a disqualification. Doesn't look like he's having much luck at the moment. He's invalidated on that lap. Lucky Finger heading towards the pits. Rafa invalidating as well. It's going to be a common theme. You are going to see a lot of penalties tonight. That is one thing that is absolutely guaranteed. You will see an abundance of 3-second time penalties. You might see the odd 5-second one from pit lane speeding, although not as harsh as it is at some other circuits, Silverstone especially. There's one that comes to mind as Rafa having a massive slide. It looked like he got understeer on the way into turn number 1, and then a massive slide on the way out of turn number 1. Just trying to light it up on the throttle, and maybe a bit of over-exuberance from Rafa there. 8th place at the moment. Maybe just used the best of those soft tyres, so would not be surprised to see him coming into the pits on this lap. XL Blood wins then, of course, the second part of the 1-2 last time around, and Kango Kon taking that victory. McLaren now 77 points in the Constructors' Championship, more than double the nearest rivals. Williams and Ferrari are both on 38, Alfa Romeo 37, then it is Aston Martin, Haas, Red Bull, Alpine, AlphaTauri, and Mercedes still yet to score a point as Black Panther crashing on his outlap. We've all been there, my friend. We have all been there. As Blood wins in a car which I think looks significantly better than livery-wise, and then the McLaren of 2022, and if anyone hasn't seen that, it is all over social media now. Let me know your comments. Blood wins goes into 6th, just ahead of his teammate, who did do that one earlier on though, of course. As there is a car a long way off the circuit there, not quite sure. I think that was one of the Alpha Tauris, just making sure that they're getting well out of the way. There's a car off in the gravel here, and that is Kasu, another one who's gone for a bit of an exuberant ride off the circuit, finding it difficult at the moment. Morgan Ball, can he keep it valid then? Can he keep it nice and clean? The reserve driver racing in his first race of the season. What's it going to be for Morgan as he heads now towards the finish line? Marcus Towler, fastest of everyone on a 103.283, as James has thankfully been able to get back into the session. The only full-time Mercedes driver here tonight, as that's a big run wide through the final corner from Morgan Ball. Gets away with it though and gets himself up into 3rd place. So the Red Bull 1-2 at the moment. Not something you've seen, despite the performances of Max Verstappen, not something you've seen too much in Formula 1 as of late. They're the fastest at the moment. Both reserve drivers, though. Morgan, a reserve as well, is 3rd in the Mercedes, and it is Velo, the full-time driver in the Williams, 4th. Bogin 5th. Mert Blood wins. Kango Kon. RJW Videos in the Ferrari just slots himself up into 9th place, and then it is J. Cole in 10th. Not seeing the huge improvements on no set of the soft tyres that we were expecting to. Admittedly, very short circuit, nowhere near as many corners around this track as there is at some of the others, especially Saudi Arabia being case in point. 27 corners when we go there later on this season, the most of any circuit, only 10 around here. So understandably, soft tyres aren't going to give you that gain that a set would do at plenty of other circuits. France as well last week, one where the soft tyres are very ideal, but would still expect to have seen a few more improvements. So Marcus Towler has retired. I imagine that must be in the pits. He must be thinking very, very cockily, perhaps, with 6.5 minutes to go, and he might end up just regretting that. He must be thinking that he's set a very good time and no one's going to get close. I think if we do see anyone beat that, it's going to have to be a fantastic lap, but given the fact that Cartalundi's got extremely close indeed, and there's still 6 minutes to go in this session, will not surprise me if we do see a good performance from Marcus Towler. Lucky Finger not improving at the moment. He's slightly down on his personal best. Needs to find 3.5 tenths in this final sector, which would probably be the best final sector we've ever seen at the Red Bull Ring, if he's to try and challenge his teammates at the moment. Alpine, as we mentioned earlier, not having the best of time in the Constructors' Championship. 8th place at the moment with 7 points. Lucky Finger getting 5 of those with an 8th place at round number 1. Emilio Romagna didn't take part last week, so he should definitely be feeling fresh. And he did improve in the final sector, but can only stay in 13th. Bogan, he did a second run on that set of soft tyres, stays in 4th, so he'll be coming into the pits on this lap. And it is a very quiet circuit at the moment, but it's about to get a bit louder. Let's have a quick listen to see what Kasu can do then as he heads round turn number 1. A lot cleaner than the last car we followed round turn number 1 in Rafa. Now heading up that hill past that Aramco sponsorship. Turn number 2, in my opinion, the most pointless corner on an F1. Yes, I know it works on G-forces, but I'm not quite sure how that's a corner. And then there's some other parts of Formula 1 tracks that don't really count as corners, but hey, I don't make the rules. Kasu, though, doing quite a good job at the moment. We haven't really seen the best of him this season. Retired from the first round, didn't take part in France, and then was disqualified in Portugal. I do think if he gets it together, now part of the Elite Racing Team stable, I really do think if Kasu gets it together, he could be one to watch this season, and that would be good for Williams in the Constructors. Again, they are second place at the moment, tied on points with Ferrari, but ahead courtesy of having a second place, and the best finish for Ferrari has been a third. And Williams nearly having a lot more in common with the Ferrari there, really having a massive slide through turn number 9, where we saw Black Panther lose the car earlier. Gets himself up into 7th, considering how big of a slide that was from him. I've got to think there's some time to gain there, as Petter has done a 105.349, has just invalidated his lap though, so he may well be on his way back into the pits. Rafa's another one who's committed an invalidation. We knew we were going to see a lot of them. I don't think I was quite expecting this much in the qualifying session. It's pretty much now or never, and Rafa's invalidated his next one as well, so his best lap at the moment was at a set of mediums, as was Jade Cole, as was Kango Con. So that's going to be one to watch for Kango Con on that set of soft tyres. 0.4 of a second they need drivers to find, and Rafa and Jade Cole, you've got to argue, would be able to find that on a fresh set of the soft tyres. Maybe he might find himself outside of the top 10, but if Kango Con can stay in that top 10 on a set of mediums, the undercut and the alternate strategy can be very potent around this circuit. It is definitely a track that benefits from that alternate strategy. And that is going to be one to watch out for, I think, ladies and gentlemen. But as Lucky Finger, he retires from the session. That is in the pits as well, I believe. Not too long to go in the session. Marcus Towler, fastest man of everyone at the moment. Followed by Cartalundi, Morgan Paul, Bogin and Merckx. 3 minutes remaining. Are we going to see Rafa go out for a final, what definitely will be a final blast? He's got enough fuel to do in there, so I think wisely fueled up for multiple runs given some of his issues earlier on. Podium in round 1 of the season, was leading last time around, and straight away he's invalidated his lap, and that is surely going to be qualifying over for the Haas car. Cartalundi has invalidated as well. Morgan Ball, an identical time through that first sector split to his previous best lap. You've got to think, with the track evolution though, finding 94 thousandths of a second, maybe just over attempt to get himself on pole, and we could see another reserve driver taking pole this season, and unless Merckx gets himself up, it is going to be another one. We've had 3 different drivers take pole and 3 different victors so far this season. Oh, we're not going to see Morgan Paul going it 4 out of 4, skipping over the Bottas lawnmower service. He's gone on to the full-on Valtteri Bottas lawn landscaping. business there. Long way off the track from Morgan Ball. A lot of drivers finding this difficult at the moment. Bogan, 22 thousandths down, I should say, on his personal best time. So we'll follow this lap around. Beautiful view of the rear ring of the 2021 cars. And of course, we're now seeing a lot more 2022 cars. What are your opinions on those, folks? So far, I think the general cars look better than what the 2021 ones did. I'm sure maybe that's a bit of, in a few years' time, nostalgia will make us look fondly on this formula of cars, as Bogan's backed off as well. A lot of drivers not getting it right on their first runs at the moment. Rafa's carrying on again quite valiantly. 2 temps down at the moment. Is he going to want to start in the top 10 on a 4-lap old set of soft tyres, or would he be better off cutting his losses at the moment, because it doesn't look like he would really drop too far down the order. Sniperone's just coming through the final couple of corners now. He's down, so surely he's about to go onto another lap, as I think that is Rafa, who's had a moment, facing the wrong way at turn number 4. So definitely is 12th, the best he's going to do. We're just trying to find out how to get out of this without getting himself disqualified. I think could be a bit of an interesting situation there. Just parked on the apex, just about manages to get out. RJW Videos in 10th place at the moment in that bubble on the top 10. A reminder for those who are unfamiliar, it is same rules as Formula 1 in that the top 10 do have to start on the tyres that they have qualified on. Only those further down do get a free choice of tyre, and it is J. Cole in that magical 11th place at the moment. Can RJW Videos get himself further up the order as Cartelundi goes fastest of everyone on a 103.209 across the line for RJW. He stays in 10th place for now. I think he could well get knocked out, and very possibly by this man, J. Cole. 11th place at the moment. He's 2 temps up, so another driver who needs to find a little bit more pace on that set of the soft tyres in what is, I think, the best looking car for 2022. The Aston Martin. Really looking forward to driving that around on the next game. See what J. Cole can do. Can he get himself into the top 10? No, he can't. Stays in 11th. I think just consolidates at 11th place as the checkered flag is out. XL Merckx, big shunt in the wall for the Alfa Romeo driver. Huge accident there. XL Merckx really going off hard into the wall. Not quite sure how, I think he just got a bit over exuberant on the power. That's the only thing I can think of what he's done there. Really massive accident, just losing it on the curb. Velo's gone himself up into 3rd place, so that's a great job from him as virtual Morgan Ball. Just checking up there to make sure the Alfa's okay. Maybe taking a few hints for what they could steal from the Mercedes onto that Alfa Romeo. But big disaster there for Merck. That was looking like a pretty good lap as well. So I think we can safely say it is going to be the Red Bull of Cartelundi for the 2nd time this season. The Canadian is on pole position. Did it as a reserve in the Alpine. Now he has done it in a reserve on the Red Bull. He's got his teammate alongside him, Marcus Towler, who will be hoping to get further in than in the last race I commentated on him on, which wasn't LOE, was another league. Didn't even make it towards the first braking zone at Russia, which was a bit of a shame for him. He'll be starting 2nd, Velo in 3rd, Morgan Ball in 4th, with Velo being the top full-time driver. I've got to say this is maybe a bit of an opportunity to get himself further up in the championship, but Kango Con starting on those set of mediums, definitely going to be one to watch. As we do wait for the order to come up then, and here it is for qualifying. Cartelundi, fastest of everyone. Marcus Towler in 2nd position. Velo in 3rd. Morgan Ball is 5th. Morgan Ball is 4th. Bogan in 5th position. XL Merckx is 6th. Bloodwind 7th. Casso is 8th. KangoCon starts 9th. On that set of the medium tyres, RJW Videos is in 10th place. J. Cole starts 11th on a fresh set as well. Rafa is 12th. Didn't get to see what he could do on the softs. Sniperones and Luckyfinger making it an all-Alpine 7th over the grid. Petter was the slowest driver to set a lap time. We saw Black Panther retire early on in the session with an accident. And James and Sven, of course, as they didn't get into qualifying with the disconnections, they will be starting from the back of the grid. This could be another one of those intriguing races. We've got reserves at the front who, perhaps, even though they have done, I mean, in Marcus Towler's case, he's done every race so far this season, so reserve in name, realistically, almost a full-time driver. They do get plenty of chances to show themselves. Oh, in this league, of course, as I can report, it is going to be beautiful sunshine, at least for the start of the race. Doesn't mean anything for the end of the race, let's not forget. And just confirming in the stewards chat that there is that famous penalty for the white line. Where have we seen any white line controversy in league racing over the last few races. I wonder. Anyone who's been keeping an eye across the PC leagues might have spotted a tiny bit of that in some other ones. So that's going to be one to watch out for tonight. Drivers making sure they get that pit entry light. Might be worth just taking a mile an hour or two off your speed just to ensure that you don't cut that white line, because the 5-second penalty will definitely be costly. Not one that you want to be getting whatsoever, as we are just seeing how this is going, waiting for the final few drivers to head out onto the circuit, and then we'll be able to get this race underway. 36 laps, of course, around the Red Bull Ring. First used in Formula 1 back in 1970, as it was the Österreich Ring, bought back in 2014 for this iteration. 10 corners, 3 DRS zones, a very undulating circuit indeed, and one that will provide plenty of action for the drivers with all those long DRS zones. Those are the tyres that everyone is starting on. Interesting that we have got a bit of a mix outside of the top 10. That is not something that I was expecting. Some of those a bit further down the order. Petter, James and Sven, perhaps just thinking with the amount of fresh tyres they've got, it is worth doing something different and trying to get some moves done up the order. This could be one to watch out later on for the reserve in the Aston Martin. So that's going to be the first time this season, and I believe they are the only team so far this season to have had both drivers in the points in every race. I might quickly find out that I'm wrong. No, McLaren have done so as well. So McLaren and Aston Martin going into this race were the only team to have had both their drivers score points in all 3 rounds. That is going to change with Miami's absence, but I'm sure J. Cole will be hoping to keep his personal streak alive, starting 11th, starting on that alternate strategy. Expect those starting on the soft tyres to come in round about lap 14 for the majority. Could see them coming in as early as lap 7 or 8, really, to really go for an interesting strategy on a set of hards. Those starting on the mediums, then we'll be seeing them come in around about lap 19, lap 20. That is going to be the one to watch out for. This is going to be a race to watch out for. Do not go anywhere, folks. Will we see Carter become the first man to get multiple victories this season? He's the first man to get multiple pole positions this season, as Lucky Finger unfortunately just disconnects for the session. Hopefully that will not cause any issues, and hopefully we'll be able to get this race underway. Will it be Carter taking another victory this season, and possibly the championship lead as well, depending on how results go? Will we see Marcus Towler get a win, or will Velho turn that consistency into his first win of the season, and maybe, just maybe, retake the lead of the championship from Kango Con? The only driver starting in the top 10 on a used set of the medium tyres, so he may have to come in a bit earlier. Lucky Finger has rejoined the session then. We're waiting for the final cars to get into the position. That is Sven. And then we're going to wait for the lights to come on to signal the start of the Austrian Grand Prix. Not holding long at all. We have got 5 lights in here in Austria. And it's lights out and away we go. What are the starts like then? Straight away you can see Cartolunde having to cover off from Marcus Towler, who takes the lead of this race. Does he? Yes, he does, because Carter's had to go way wide off the circuit, as have a few others. That's both Alfa Romeos going the long way round. And now it's Morgan Ball and Cartolunde battling side by side up the hill. Which one of these is going to end up staying ahead on the run down? And I think it's going to be the Red Bull just coming out ahead despite having to take that longer line. So it is Marcus Towler with a fantastic start in the lead. Cartolunde is second, Morgan Ball in third, Velo in fourth, Bogin in fifth, all over the back of the Williams. Is he going to try a long one all the way around the outside here? No, not able to do so. Kango Con's had a good start. He's actually battling with XL Merck here, and he might be battling with Kasu very shortly, but no, not able to do so. Yellow flags further back as Kasu's run wide, and that might be a fantastic opportunity that Kango Con needs to send one up the inside into 7. Can he hold it around the outside into 8? He can indeed. This has been a brilliant start to the race for the man who you'd think on paper should have the worst start to the race on the least grippy tyres that are slightly worn out. It was Sven who had that spin early on. Can't see any obvious damage from that camera angle on his car, so hopefully he is able to carry on. But it is Stu Stiperons who's having to come into the pits here, and his teammate, that's his teammate who's got it wrong as well. Disastrous first lap for the Alpine team. One in the pits, one having to, I can only imagine, yes, that is a front wing change at the end of lap 1. So going on to lap 2, it is Marcus Towler in the lead from Cartolunde and Morgan Ball. But what a start from Kango Con. Up already 3 places despite starting on that set of mediums, as I think Lucky Finger's gone round again at turn number 1. And that is now Velo and Bogan starting to have their little battle for 4th and 5th place. And that is Velo up into 4th, then back, well, actually down slightly from where he started. Did start in 3rd position, so has lost a place. Another driver finding it difficult at the start. Interestingly, that it was those on the clean side of the grid that seem to have had the issues a bit more than those on the dirty side. Not something we would normally expect to see, but that's just the way it's gone at the moment. Fastest laps of the race coming from both of the Red Bull drivers at the moment, so they'll be pretty chuffed with how it's working out. DRS enabled, and unsurprisingly, this is where the gap is in the field. It is between Kango Con in 6th and Bogan just up ahead of him. As you can see there, Morgan Ball closing in on the back of the 2 Red Bulls. Will we see any teamwork between them? Because they are both reserve drivers. They aren't actually teammates in that traditional sense. As you can see, the DRS open on the Red Bull as well is going to make it exceedingly difficult for Morgan Ball to get any moves done here. One man who's not finding it difficult, though, down the inside goes Excel Merckx on Kango Con. Great move from him. Now, can Kango fight back? Or is he just going to have to accept this one for now? That is Merckx up into 6th, won in France, with that still, I think, one of the performances we're going to see of the season. Just absolutely streaked away once things started getting wet. Similar to what we saw Kango Con do last time out, if we're being perfectly truthful. Both of them putting in supreme performances in the wet conditions. Lucky Finger has made it back to the pits after his multiple spins. He's out on a fresh set of medium tyres. Already a lap down. There was, of course, ghosting with the lap cars. That might make things a bit more awkward than they would otherwise need to be, as that's Bloodwinds now moving his way up the order. McLaren's 7th and 8th after starting. Well, they did start in 7th and 9th places. Oh, I think Velo's might have had Velo's been overtaken. He's not the one who's had the issue. It's Black Panther who's had a spin coming out of turn number 1. Thankfully for him, at least unlike in qualifying, he is able to carry on after this little mishap. Carter Lundy really starting to put his teammate under all sorts of pressure at this moment in time. His teammate not able to get away at the moment. Not that I don't think Marcus will be too worried about how things are going. Playing the long game, of course. Still a long way to go in this race. We are only on lap 4 out of 36, and most of the action that we've seen so far seems to have been in that midfield pack rather than right up the order, as those different tyres that everyone is on is having an impact. Sven's coming to the pits on the last lap as well, as this time Carter Lundy's under all sorts of pressure. Morgan Ball not going to go for the move on this occasion, but definitely looks like Carter's struggling a bit more out of some of these corners. Yes, he's got the DRS, but that's not really helping him escape at the moment, as, oh, that is Merckx dropping a long way down the order. Spinner for the Alfa Romeo. Disaster after just working his way back up. He is now in 14th. Turn number 1 proving very difficult for a lot of these drivers, and on these medium tyres it's proving difficult for Kango Con. 2.1 seconds now behind the lead DRS train, finding it very difficult indeed in a track that Max Verstappen found very successful last year, winning the Austrian and Styrian Grand Prix. Lap number 5 then, Marcus Dowler still leading this race from Carter Lundy, Morgan Ball and Bogan. You might remember Marcus and Carter were involved in that brilliant battle for the victory in round number 1. I think Kango Con involved in that, and Bryn as well, as that is another yellow flag, and I think that is Rafa this time who's facing the wrong way. 7 and 8, another one that a lot of drivers always find difficult. So Rafa now heading in back on the right direction on their set of medium tyres, so it won't be as annoying to have had the spin. I'm sure he'll still be frustrated in what looks like looks like an early days Raikkonen helmet, and also like his Lotus days, but with purple instead of the blue colour. Very interested in that, as down the inside we're very interested in that as well. 2 Red Bulls swap in position. Carter Lundy takes the lead of this race. Started on pole, didn't have the greatest start, gets himself back up towards the front of the order. Thinks, right then, Marcus Towler, it is your turn to start feeling the pressure from the Mercedes. J. Cole gets his way past Kasu, who's starting to drop down the order. Peter, the first driver to get himself a 3-second time penalty. I think we're going to see the screen littered with black and white flags by the end of this race. And if there's a late safety car, which is always a possibility around this track, there's always an option that we could see a safety car. That could be crucial, as Carter just weaving slightly there, and I think in doing so has almost overheated his own tyres. Not sure why he was weaving that aggressively. He's just giving the racing line to Marcus Towler here. This is some very, very interesting driving between Carter and Marcus at the moment. Carter clearly has got himself into the lead of this race, but doesn't look too bothered about whether he's going to stay there or not. And I think we're going to see Marcus, the Norwegian driver, just shoot his way down the inside into turn number 1. Thank you very much. Let's not forget, Marcus almost got into the challenges on the PlayStation platform. An exceedingly good driver indeed. The results from the races he's had so far this season showing that with a 7th, a 4th and a 9th. Could this be the one where he does get his first podium as Bloodwinds gets past his teammate there? I can only imagine a bit of orchestration between the two Excel drivers, and that is now Bloodwinds into 6th place. And we're seeing James trying to get his way past the order. He overtakes Pitter as well, so that is James into 11th. Still looks like he's having a few issues with the connection though. Looks like he is bouncing around all over the place. So hopefully for him, he's able to stay into the session as Rafa follows his way through as well. Never mind staying in the session. He'll be hoping he can just stay on the track. That is James all the way round at turn number 7. Loses it quite early on there. It's normally on the acceleration you see it, but I doubt he'd have been going full throttle at that point. So that is James all the way around. Lucky Fingers back into the pits. He's really not having a lucky race whatsoever, as this time it's Carter Lundy round the outside of Marcus Towler. And Lucky Finger does retire in the pits from the session. We are down to just 17 drivers as Carter runs very wide there, coming out of turn number 3. And this might be the opportunity that Morgan Ball needs to try and get a move done down the inside into turn number 4. Can't manage it on this occasion. It is really heating up at the front of this race. KangoCon working his way past Bloodwinds as well. If they work together on the DRS, could see the two Mercedes McLarens climb their way up the order, of course, with the Mercedes engines. I would not count out KangoCon yet. He's only 4 seconds off the lead of this race after effectively 8 laps. He's lost half a second a lap. The race will come to him, especially later on when he's on those medians. As Sven's retired from the race, and that could be an interesting one because that is out on track, coming out of turn number 1. I think he sent the car spinning round. So we're on board there with Marcus Towler. We'll try and catch that Aston Martin if we can on the right hand side of the track. You can just see it flashing by there. Too much power on the exit of turn number 1. And Sven sends it around for our first on-track retirement, but our second of the race. As for the first time in a few laps, we haven't seen a change for the lead there. Coming into turn number 3. We were getting used to that being a regular theme over the last few laps, as Rafa's, he's had a moment at turn number 1 as well, but he's able to continue, as I think we're going to see Carter Lundy go down the inside. There he goes on his Red Bull teammate of Marcus Towler. Can Marcus get a better exit though? Carter just having to chop across the nose of his teammate. We haven't seen Red Bulls battle this hard since the Ricciardo Verstappen days, maybe even the Vettel Webber days. And we all know how well that ended up for those. But Carter back into the lead, Marcus in second, Morgan Ball in 3rd place. Has got to be thinking, what can I do different here? He's definitely a candidate for the undercut. He's staying well in range, as Kasu now takes a 3-second time penalty. So the 3rd driver to get one of those. Kasu, J. Cole and Pitter with those. As here comes Marcus Towler. Bit early on the straight there. Maybe just trying to spook Carter, who we've seen run right into turn number 3 on the previous lap. Did get away with it though. I think here it comes. Marcus Towler's going to retake the lead of this race. Anything down towards turn number 3. Boging all over the back of Morgan Ball. And that might force Morgan to just try and have a bit of a move here at the moment, as they're getting very close together. Oh, these two Red Bulls then. There comes Carter Lundy. Just straight round the outside once more with that DRS. Boging all over the back of Morgan Ball, who's going to have to send it on Marcus Towler here. I don't think he was really going for the overtake. I think he's just planning a defence here, trying to make sure that he's not under any pressure. Down the inside though goes Bogey and pole sitter from last time out. Morgan Ball's trying to hold this off all the way around the outside. He's going to have to yield, and from spending so much of this race looking like he was going to attack the Red Bulls, he's had to defend, and unfortunately for him he's come up short. That is Bogey up into 3rd. Now can we see him attack the Red Bulls as we move on to lap 11? An almost Schumacher-Barrichello move there from 2001-2002. The older F1 fans will remember that controversy, of course, with the team orders. That was Marcus Towler being let by Carter Lundy. I can only think so. No, you don't want to be in the lead here. Unless you are the Red Bulls. Part of you are thinking, well, maybe I do want to be in the lead, because, of course, I do want to be the driver to pit first if I want to go for that undercut. So if we see those two really battling hard, That could be a big indication that we are seeing them get ready to come into the pits. Here's Morgan Ball. Down the inside he goes on Bogan. Has to really slam on the anchors there to avoid going into the back of Cartalundi. But that faint move was just enough to force Bogan off track there. So Morgan now up into third place. Bogan down into fourth. And it's back to the view from the Mercedes all over the back of the Honda. He'll have studied vigorously the diffuser of this Red Bull. He'll be able to copy Adrian Newey's handiwork to the millimetre at this moment in time, because Morgan Ball has spent the entire race just stuck on the back of these drivers. And all this battling has done, as you might just notice the McLaren there in the background, all that has done has brought KangoCon into play. Bloodwinds, J-Cole as well even, and RJW Videos. KangoCon is now on the back of this train with DRS, with a set of the medium tyres. He's going to be able to go longer. He's going to lose out on the undercut, but he's going to be supremely fast at the end of this race. I think once the soft runners have pitted, we'll see him come out in about 8th place, as James is the first driver, I believe, to do a scheduled pit stop. Then Cartalundi retakes the lead. James into the pits for this scheduled pit stop. Medium, well, another set of soft tyres going on. He did start on soft, so this is a 2-stop strategy. This is very interesting indeed. Marcus Towler. Oh, Carter, behave yourself. That was a huge slide from the Red Bull driver there, really losing the back of the car. Now he's going to be even under a bit of pressure, maybe heading down towards turn number 9, but Marcus knows it is not a long braking zone into turn number 9, and he is just going to yield for now and just going to keep things as they are and not panic too much. Are we going to see another move into turn number 1? We're not, and this, will he, won't he, have taken the lead of this race is really costing these guys. It's closed up the top 8 significantly. You can see there 2.7 seconds now between the top 8 drivers, as this time Marcus goes for the move. It is Morgan Ball able to follow through. He is not. Black Panther gets a penalty. Morgan into the back of Carter, who goes into the back of Marcus, and I think that just ruined the momentum of the Red Bull driver. Not able to get that move done, but he's going to have to send this on the brakes here. Not as straightforward as the previous moves. We've seen this contact. Morgan Ball trying to follow his way through on Marcus Towler. Wasn't quite alongside enough. Door was left slightly ajar. And that is Morgan for a possible podium all the way down into 8th. Most importantly for him, a long way off that train. Now might be the time he thinks about coming into the pits and putting on a set of those medium tyres to try and turn a negative into some sort of positive, as Cartalundi comes into the pits then. First of the front runners to come in on the end of lap number 13. XL Velho coming in as well. This will be a straightforward soft medium strategy then for these drivers. Great work from the Red Bull boys as we expected. Morgan's coming in murked as well. Can only be a lap or 2 away from the rest of the front runners coming in. This is going to put him out in plenty of free air, I imagine. RJW actually came in the lap before. It's going to be pretty close with Pitter on the exit, but Cartalundi has played that beautifully. He's in free air, can use those medium tyres, and now his teammate's going to be under all sorts of pressure on the undercut, and he's under all sorts of pressure on the track, because Bogan really starting to turn up the wick now, turn up the heat on Marcus Towler. We saw him pass, but Morgan earlier on, even being stuck in that DRS train. Are we going to see something similar here? But just stays behind for now. Both of these, I think, will be coming in on this lap. Oh, Bogan definitely going to be coming on this lap. Those rear tyres, a lot of slow corners, a lot of acceleration zones around here. Those rear tyres are crying enough, as we're seeing the front 3 soft runners come into the pit. So that is KangoCon now in the lead from J-Cole, and Bogan really attacking that pit entry part of the circuit. Velho's managed to get ahead of Petter there, losing out, of course, in all that traffic, proving to be quite costly because he's now 2 seconds off the back of Cartalundi. So we'll see where all these drivers come out. Kasu retires from the section. There, Kasu is out, and that is a full safety car. Well, that is a safety car, and that changes everything, because if you're KangoCon and J-Cole, what do you do in this situation? Do you put on a set of softs to then come back in and put on a set of mediums and do your pit stop under the safety car? Or do you just try to carry on and hope, as quite often is the case, safety cars breed safety cars? But Kasu, our 3rd retirement of the race, loses it through 7 and 8. And that leads to our first safety car, and that really changes the strategy for all of these drivers. If you're Petter, you are getting a bit of a cheaper pit stop here. You're not gonna gain loads, but definitely an opportunity for him to get a cheaper pit stop. And you've got to think some of those further up, yes, they wouldn't have been expecting it, but they might be kicking themselves at the fact that they didn't stay out. If they had, whoever had stayed out could have got themselves a free victory here. As it is, Carter Lundy's a long way off these drivers. He's driving very slowly at this moment in time. Yes, you have got to, of course, defer to the Delta, but it looks like Kango Con and J-Con have been able to go around much quicker. They've put on a set of soft tyres, and they're going to still come out in the net lead of this race. Like, Carter Lundy is driving very slowly under this safety car to stick under that Delta. He was about 15, 16 seconds behind. All of a sudden, 24 seconds. And that's allowed Kango and J-Con to get out ahead. Now, the question is, do Kango and J-Con, as Morgan Ball gets a drive-through penalty for speeding under the safety car, bad to worse for him. He was well up towards the front of the order earlier on. Now it's all going wrong. Rafa comes in to put on a set of softs as well. Pitter on a set of mediums. Black Panther puts on a set of softs. We're really seeing these alternate strategies starting to come to the fore. But yeah, Kango Con and J-Con on the softs. Do you try to get them towards the end? Or do you come in this lap around for a slightly fresher set of mediums, but admitting you will be at the back of the order? The interesting things, the idiosyncrasies of strategies under the safety car as we get the penalties up again. We said these would be crucial. If there's a safety car, you've got less time to get away your penalties. At this rate, you're going to have half the race to build up that 3-second gap. If you're J-Con, Morgan's going to get a drive through. He's going to drop right to the back. And Petter and Black Panther as well, going to have to find 3 seconds on their nearest rivals. I'm intrigued to see what Kango and J-Con do here. Do they think they can get the soft tyres to the end of the race? I think that's a brave call. I think you're going to struggle doing that one. But there they are, both staying out there on the circuit. Carter and Marcus Towler almost overtaking each other there. We are going to have another few more laps because, as you can see here, James is a long way off the back of the pack. Probably doing the wisest thing, not going fast on the straights, burning that excess fuel that you'll now get, because I can't imagine many drivers under-fueled for this circuit. Unsurprisingly, with as many straights, it is quite a thirsty track, but can now just afford to burn a bit of fuel off, burn off a few of the extra kilograms that you are allowed to use. Of course, in a full F1 race is 105 kilos, and that does work accordingly. As James coming back into the pits for what I can only imagine is going to be another set of the soft tyres. This is his third pit stop of the race. And no, it's another set of the mediums. Oh, it is, yeah, another set of softs going on for James. So that might extend the safety car period a bit longer, which is good news if you're J-Col. Good news if you are now our race leader. The winner from last time out, our championship leader, Kango Con, leads under the safety car on lap number 17. Can he get his softs towards the end? Can XL get them towards the end with J-Col? Or will it be a Red Bull battle again between Carter Lundy and Marcus Towler? Bogan Velo, Bloodwinds, Videos, Merckx and Morgan Ball round out the top 10. As you can see here, we have got some support for Bloodwinds at the moment. Perhaps not in a bad place. Slightly fresher medium tyres than the car ahead of him. Of course, as we said last time out, did a great job to get that 1-2 for the McLaren team, getting ahead of Ross, RJW Videos in the latter stages of this race. He'll be absolutely delighted with that one. It could be another great performance from a McLaren team. They're leading. He's in 7th place. He's got slightly fresher tyres. Wouldn't be the worst, wouldn't be the most surprising thing in the world if we do get another double podium from the McLaren boys here. So watch this space. They are looking very good in the Constructors' Championship as we are lap number 18. Another lap under the safety car. James has nearly caught up to the back of the pack. Interestingly, that Sniper Owns has gone for a set of the hard tyres. I'd have come in... well, now I'd be thinking about coming in and putting a set of softs. But earlier on, I'd have come in for a fresh set of the mediums if you had it. Even if you had a slightly scrubbed set. Those hard tyres, he could be a bit of a sitting duck. Could still get points, though. Let's not forget, it is the top 12 that get points. It's the same as the F1 point scoring system, down towards 7th place. Instead of going 4-2-1 for 8th, 9th and 10th, it goes 5-4-3-2-1 for 8th down to 12. And if you set a fastest lap and you're in the top 12, you will get that bonus point. And that is what Merckx did last time out. He's in 9th place. He's got to be thinking, what could have been if he hadn't have had that spin? Safety car, we're almost certain, will be coming in. at the end of this lap. There we go. There's the sign. Safety car is in on this lap. It is all down to Kangokon now. Doesn't want to give anyone, not necessarily the slipstream down towards turn 1, but needs to make sure he nails this restart so he's not under pressure towards turns number 3 and then number 4. First time we'll be able to see the DRS is on the run down towards turn number 3 on lap 21. I think then we're going to see plenty of swaps. But for him and J. Cole, he's got to get this restart right. He has got to use those soft tyres and streak his way ahead as best as he possibly can and try to catch the others napping. J. Cole will be trying his best to stay on him. You can see there Cartalundi almost getting alongside the Aston Martin driver. He's leaving it very late here. Is Kangokon to decide to go, and there we go. He has now floored the throttle and has gone away, and he seems to have got a perfect restart there on J. Cole, and it looks like Cartalundi is going to have a brilliant opportunity to take second place in this race. Down the inside into turn number 1. He goes very close, those two, from making contact, but I think he's just got away with it, and you can see Marcus Towler is involved in this as well, and Bogan's trying to get there. They're almost 4 wide on the way down towards turn number 3. Which one of them is going to come out ahead? I think it's going to be Marcus Towler, who just sneaks ahead of Bogan. Cartalundi stays in second place, but it's been the dream start for Kangokon, 1.5 seconds ahead of the field. He now needs to try and break away. J. Cole trying to use those soft tyres after what was a under par restart. He's gone from 2nd to 5th, really finding himself stuck in this train. Morgan Ball's got ahead of RJW Videos, who's trying to fight back. Let's not forget, Morgan has that drive-through penalty, but a dream first lap after the safety car for Kangokon. He now leads this race by 1.4 seconds from Cartalundi. Then it's Marcus Towler, Bogan, J. Cole, Velo, Bloodwinds, Morgan Ball, RJW and Merckx, your top 10 drivers. RJW picking up his first penalty of the race. Superb restart. Kangokon there really catching J. Cole out. Brilliant, smart driving from Cartalundi as well. Got a good exit. No, though, that he can't make the overtake before the finish line, otherwise he'd have had to give it back. And then, most likely, lose places to Marcus Bogan as well. So, very smart driving from him. Bloodwinds is having a fantastic battle there. Got ahead of RJW Videos and was really close to getting ahead of Morgan Ball with not too many laps to go. DRS activated next time around. They'll have 16 laps of that, as long as everyone keeps it clean. But he knows he doesn't have to overtake Morgan Ball, who perhaps is just quite happily to sit in this train, as Morgan will have to come into the pits, I believe, next time around at the latest. Otherwise, he will get himself disqualified. He's going to drop to the back, but he's got pace. Still would not be surprised to see Morgan pick up some points in this race. And you can just see at the moment the pressure Cartalundi already starting to come on from his teammate. The Red Bull Ring, of course, this track owned by Dietrich Mateschitz, the Austrian energy drink magnate, of course, behind the Red Bull brand, took it over, renovated it. There were even rumours of the track changing before it got brought back to F1, but no, they kept that short, fast, fierce layout that I think many of the drivers love. And here comes Marcus Towler then on the back of his teammate. I don't think there's going to be a lot Cartalundi can do here, but just sit and accept that it's going to happen. They can use the DRS together to work their way up to the back of Kangokon, who is just getting away at the moment, 2.1 seconds. That gap at the front of the field, but let's not forget, Kangokon on those soft tyres will be slower at the end of the race as Carter decides to just stay behind for now. And you can see the difficulty of the DRS train. It's now Bogan in 4th place. 3rd man in the train, just can't work his way up the order. Still don't count him out though. He had a brilliant pole position last time out, showed superb pace here so far. We're starting to get a sign, even of those reserve drivers, of which ones we could see regularly challenging, given how often they're racing. Could even see them regularly getting towards challenging for the title, as Bogan gets a face full of sparks off the Red Bull. You might see a few more of them this year with the Venturi tunnels, despite the front wings running higher. The cars are still running a very low ride height indeed. That might cause havoc with the ground effect. DRS though still here to stay on for 2022 cars, and Marcus Towler really wishes it weren't on the 2021 ones either, because that is a very straightforward move for his teammate. Cartalundi gets himself up into 2nd place. Interestingly, already DRS light flashing on the back of Marcus Towler's car. He's really used up a lot of electrical energy on these first few laps, and that might make it harder for him. First few laps after the safety car might make it harder for him later on. He does get himself, though, back up into 2nd place. You can see already that light is flashing as further down the order for the final points position in this race. James gets ahead of Pitter who is able to get back. Petter has scored points. Round number 1 of the season. Got a 9th place. 13th at France. Maybe he can make it another point score this time. And that will help his chances. Actually, no, it won't. He gets a penalty. A few split seconds after James gets one as well. That time around, Kango Kon lost about 4/10 of a second. That is how powerful DRS is here around this track. And that is what he's up against. And later on, of course, with the old tyres against the mediums, he's going to find it very difficult indeed. I can see why he went for this strategy. Kind of forced into it after the safety car. There's not a lot he could have done. Marcus Towler gets ahead of Carter London. Now, Bogan just needs to think here about getting the exit right. In fact, Carter's had a bit of a poor exit, and that's going to allow Marcus to go down the inside. And I think Bogan's going to end up on the grass here. Surely he's going to have to yield. Otherwise, that would have been an absolutely huge crash. Sends one up the inside. There wasn't really a gap there for the Alfa Romeo. Nearly loses out the car. Bogan, I said you needed to fight if you want to get any moves done in this race. I'm not quite sure I meant fight that hard. Very close to losing it on the grass, which would have been a huge accident. Probably would have taken out himself and both Red Bulls. Then went for a move where there wasn't really a gap alongside Marcus Towler. And again, nearly found himself getting spun round, which would have been a bit of a self-inflicted problem. As, Bloodwind's having a bit of fun there with Merckx. I think both of them losing the car. And Rafa, the big beneficiary of that. Another one of those to put on the soft tyres. He's not able to use this as much as he's in traffic at the moment. But in 9th place would be another good point score for the Haas driver. As there comes Carter Lundy, passing Marcus Towler. I may as well get this on record because I think I'm going to be saying this quite a lot in this race. These two drivers stopping as, Stiperone's out of the race, and that's another safety car. Another safety car then. Well. Lap number 24 out of turn number 1. We have seen Stiperones lose the car on those hard tyres. We are down to 14 runners. Now, what do? Do you stay out on your set of the medium tyres? Do you come into the pits to put on a fresh set of softs and really gain later on? If you're Morgan Ball, if you're Petter, I think if you're anyone outside the top 10, there's only one thing you can do here, and that is come into the pits, put on a fresh set of the soft tyres, and if you're the race leader, that's the only thing you're going to do as well. Into the pits comes Kango Kon for a fresh set of the soft tyres. Are many of the other drivers following him? Carter Lundy is as well. I think we could see most of the field come in here. Marcus Towler might lose out a tiny bit in all of this on the double stack. It depends how well the Red Bull boys are able to get to work. His teammates just leaving there. Yeah, not bad whatsoever. Ever so slight delay. But all things considered, Marcus Towler, I think, will be very happy with how that pit stop has worked out for him. The 3 men have stopped out. Jacob stops out. Petter stops out. And James stops out as well. And somehow, I'm not quite sure how this has happened, Kango Kon has managed to get 2 cars in between himself and Petter. With everyone pitted apart from one, he's only lost 1 position. This is a superb strategy now for Kango Kon. 3rd of the race to go. He's in 2nd. He's got no penalties. 6 seconds for, the three drivers nearest to him all have penalties. Carter Lundy is his main rival. He's kept it clean on the penalties at the moment. But yeah, all working well for Kango Kon. All looking good for that other win. And J. Cole, he's just got to hope that he can hold on. He's got to hope as well he can get a better restart than he did first time around on the safety car, where he was swamped by the medium runners behind him. He'll be hoping that is not the case this time around. Lap number 25, then they're just about to approach lap number 26. We're on our 2nd safety car period after Stiperone's lost it out of turn number 1. And it is Jake Cole in the lead from Kango Kon. Petter in 3rd, James in 4th, and Carter Lundy in 5th. Expect it to be McLaren versus the Red Bull, with maybe Bogan and Marcus Towler getting involved as well for this race victory. Quite a few times now we're seeing Marcus Towler and Bogan swap around, and I'm not quite sure. I know it was a glitch on the previous version of the game where you did see drivers getting told, oh, you have to let the car pass. Oh no, now you have to let that car pass. And it just caused all sorts of chaos until someone admitted defeat and just got themselves a 5-second penalty, which if they got now, presuming they don't have to make another pit stop, they would be able to get removed from the stewards, of course. But this is the first time we've seen for a distance a car splitting the 2 Red Bulls. A Sniper does leave the session. They're not really driving in single line as you'd like to see under the safety car. They're not really doing too much tyre warm-up at the moment. Maybe in J. Cole's case, he's trying to save up his tyres. That revving technique, of course, burning up the fuel, using all the 13,000 revs that the drivers have available to them in this 1.6 litre formula of engines that we're going to see in Formula 1 until 2025, when it will change to a slightly simplified one, getting rid of the MGUH. We've basically got a slightly simplified Formula 1 race now. No more pit stops expected, 11 laps. Who can take the victory? J. Cole with that 3-second penalty. He's just hoping for a better restart. He's hoping that Petter and James can keep Carter, Bogan and Marcus behind them for as long as possible. If they do that, he might still be within a chance to get his best result of the season, which is currently last time out at the French Grand Prix with a 6th place. So that's going to be one to watch out for there. We saw Kango Con leave it very late to go last time, and we've seen J. Cole go a bit earlier, and it has worked to absolutely brilliant effect as Carter Lundy gets a 5-second penalty for a collision under the safety car with James. That is less than ideal. Might get done for overtaking as well, and that's just going to allow Bogan to get through. That's going to allow Marcus Towler to get through. Any chance of a victory for Carter Lundy has gone out of the window with that collision. James is really holding these drivers up here. I don't think he's doing anything wrong. He's just so slow, obviously, with the older tyres. That's Marcus and Carter getting ahead of him now. Velo trying to get through as well. Bogan battling as well with, that was Marcus Towler he was battling with there. So all sorts is happening, and you can see the view from Carter Lundy, his teammate, and Bogan fighting tooth and nail. Who's going to come out ahead? And it's Bogan, I think, is just going to know he actually loses out there. Tried to crowd Marcus Towler. Didn't quite work out as well as he wanted. So that is Bogan up into 5th. A dream restart for our front 2, though. They've built 2 seconds over the car of Petter behind, who might still get a very good result here if he keeps it clean on penalties for the remaining 9 laps in this race. But it is J. Cole in the lead with that 3-second penalty, though, for him. Kango Con is looking very good to make it 2 wins in a row. You can see already just a difference in grip Marcus has got there. Fresh softs versus old mediums. No chance whatsoever as Carter Lundy now gets a 3-second time penalty. The last 90 seconds have really been a lesson in how badly things can go wrong, and Bogan's trying to just squeeze him towards the side of the track there. Is he going to be able to make that one work? No, he has not. Bogan must have made a mistake somewhere out on track, because he'd obviously broken quite a long way away from these, and now Marcus Towler is in 3rd place, sort of on his own, 2.5 seconds up the road from these drivers as Velo now battles with Rafa. James has really dropped down the order. I'm not sure on that old set of soft tyres that was the right move to stay out. It's going okay for J. Cole at the moment, but I think, oh, that's Carter around. Carter off at turn number 6 and 7. Make that an absolute disaster last 2 minutes for the Red Bull driver. We were talking about a possible win. Now he's got no front wing. No chance, I've got to say, of probably getting any points as DRS is enabled. He comes into the pits. Would not be surprised to see Carter Lundy become the 5th retirement of this race. Pole position will not be converted into a... And he actually crashes it on the way to the pit lane. So, yeah, sums it all up for him. Change for the lead, though. Kango Con gets ahead of J. Cole. We knew that one was coming. Now he's just got to try and escape as much as he possibly can as Velo and Rafa are battling. Bloodwind's not too far behind either. Morgan Ball back into this battling as well. He was towards the front of the field. Let's not forget earlier on, after that drive-through penalty and spin really cost things for him. There's a bit of wheel banging, free wide into turn number 4. Somehow they all get through cleanly, but that could have got a bit nasty there. Morgan clearly thinking he was owed a bit more room from XL Bloodwind, so decided to try and give himself some more room, and Bloodwinds did well to avoid losing the car there. It's all getting a bit feisty further down the order, and this is what Formula 1 I think envisaged when they came up with sprint races. Not quite what they got though when they came up with sprint races, and I doubt we're going to see them this season. Kango Con, fastest lap of the race, 104.9. Here is the battle for 5th place at the moment. A train from 5th down into 11th, and it's going to be Rafa and Morgan Ball who are battling at the moment. Rafa gets ahead, does he? No, Morgan flies over the curb, very close to losing the car. That's the Mercedes who's going to drop down a few places, and now it's Velo getting all over the back of Rafa. Bogan somehow still ahead out of all these guys. We've got a yellow flag, and that is James, who has lost the car, but down towards the braking zone of turn number 3 they go, and that is Morgan now battling with RJW Videos. He's going to try and get a bit of a one on Bloodwinds, and you've got Bogan up ahead with Velo. Rafa there as well. Bloodwinds defends and also attacks by sending one down the inside of Rafa. Morgan Ball tries to take a different line. That hasn't worked out, and now Black Panther's all over the back of him. It is all happening. All happening in this battle for 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th for the moment. That is Bogan, who has now been overtaken. Very clean move down the inside into turn number 7 and 8 by XL Velo. I do not know where to look. It is times like this I really wish I had a co-commentator. If you're interested, join the LOE Discord. You can become a reserve commentator for our PS Leagues, as well as Rafa down the inside at turn number 10. That's not a move you see too often. That's a fantastic overtake there by Rafa. Now Bogan's really starting to struggle in this latter part of this race. I wonder if he's picked up a tiny bit of damage, because that is Bloodwinds who's just sailed through like he's not even there. Bogan's going to try and fight back. And yeah, he has missing left end plate on that front wing, so that is really going to cost him. Seems to be so much more costlier on this game than it was on the last game. On the next game, of course, shouldn't really have as much of an effect with ground effects, but we'll have to wait and see how things work out with that one. RJW now battling with Bloodwinds, who's trying to squeeze him as close to the edge of the track. I think there was a bit of contact there between them. Morgan Ball sends it as well, and we've had a yellow flag, and that is Bloodwinds who lost it. I know we only got to, and he's overheated his tyres, clips the wall there, somehow gets away without any damage. I think, if I've got to be honest, Bloodwinds should have left a bit more room there. As soon as he squeezed Ross coming into the braking zone, lucky that it didn't end up in a bigger impact, as now Morgan Ball trying to go all around the outside of Bogan, who's had to give up. And that allows RJW to get through as well. So this is causing gaps in the field. All this different battling and mistakes happening, and the damage. One gap that is closing as Morgan Ball now tries to go all the way around the outside of RJW, with Bogan trying to get involved in as well. The names that we're just seeing constantly involved in the battling all this race. Bogan must have chased position about 100 times, and he might be about to try to make it 101. Morgan Ball down the inside, very late on the brakes on RJW. And that's just going to give Bogan the perfect exit here to try and get past both of them. Why not in the Alfa Romeo? He might have front wing damage, but that is a superb move from Bogan, who gets himself up into 7th place. There is still, of course, the battle for the lead of this race, which might get more exciting out on track, with Marcus Towler now joining it. Velo finally gets back Petter, who I think has gone lawn mowing. At the very same part where Bottas did in the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix qualifying, Peter has gone lawn mowing. Svezny Peter finding it very difficult indeed. Those mediums just starting to get a bit worn, as Bogan now battling with RJW. It looks like Morgan has finally broken away from them with 5 laps to go in, 4 laps to go I should say, in this race, and Morgan almost bump drafting. You don't see that in Formula 1 too often, bump drafting your way down the straight. There is a car in the I think there's a car that's had a spin at the moment, and that is Velo's had a spin actually. Velo has lost his front wing coming out of the final corner, so he's going to drop. Well, he's probably going to drop outside the points. If he can get round the track and get back into the pits, you never know, he might still find his way into the points if something else happens, because with all what's going off, there could well be something else is happening, as Marcus Towler, what a move, just caught the tail end of that round the outside of J. Cole. Superb driving from the Red Bull man there. Magnificent from Marcus. He's up into 3rd place. Now he's got to battle Kango Con, who is getting some absolutely lovely, and fair play to Bloodwinds for not giving it too often, lovely DRS assistance from his teammate. Very fair that from Bloodwinds to move out of the way, because I think a few teams would have tried, and I've seen it done in other leagues, just try to let that lapped car give the DRS to your teammate, and that does really help you out, of course. But now it is Marcus Towler versus Kango Con for the win out on track. He has a 3-second time penalty, of course, that will cost him unless we see Kango Con get one as well. Then it is all to play for. RJW has got back ahead of Morgan Ball. Not sure how long this is going to last. All of a sudden, with all what's gone on, this is a battle for the top 5, and with no penalties, Morgan's a prime favourite to win this battle for the top 5. He's going to have to try it all the way around the outside at turn number 4. RJW goes defensive, goes a bit deep, will manages to hold on to that. Big news further up as well. XLJ Cole has now got 6 seconds of penalties. Rafa behind him has none. He's got 2 laps to go on the worn tyres to avoid losing 3 seconds and avoid losing that first podium of the season. Final 2 laps of the race. You can see Marcus Towler up ahead, really weaving all over the back of the McLaren of Kango Con. He's really determined to take the victory out on track at least, and he's going to take the lead out on track. Marcus Towler down the inside before we get to the braking zone of turn number 3. And that is the Red Bull into the lead. Still, though, looking good to get a 2nd position and a well-deserved first podium. Watch out for him. It wouldn't surprise me if he's in a full-time seat soon, and if he is, he could be battling for the championship. Oh, James has lost it coming out of the final corner. Any chance Mercedes had of getting their first points of the season has gone with that crash. And that means, again, everyone who finishes is going to get a point. So this is why you carry on. People who retire in the pits, Velo gets another penalty, but this is why you carry on. It has worked out absolutely superbly for Velo in terms of he's going to get 2 points. In terms of everything else on the race has gone, no, it's not worked out well whatsoever. I grant that. Final lap of the race, so starting now. Kango Con looking good. As long as he doesn't get a penalty, he's a shoo-in for his 2nd win of the season. As long as him and Marcus Towler don't clash, he's a shoo-in for the 2nd win of the season. Will he go for the move, or will he just let Marcus take the victory? I think this is your answer. He wants to get the win. Out on track, down towards turn number 3. That is Kango Con into the lead of this race. Will we see Marcus Towler try to fight back? Just loses it on traction there. He has got the DRS. He's not got a lot of BRS. This is going to be a very interesting battle down towards turn number 4. Can Marcus send it all the way around the outside on the same age of tyres? What a move! Marcus Towler into the lead of this race. Great driving from the Red Bull driver, but still Kango Con is trying to fight back. He needs to be careful here. If he gets involved in an accident, if he gets a penalty, then he would end up losing the win as Velo does get the fastest lap of the race. Bogan gets ahead of Peter, but it is going to be a win out on track for Marcus Towler. The Norwegian driver fought hard with many drivers. He takes the checkered flag first, but it is a 2nd win in a row for Kango Con in the McLaren. J. Cole gets his first podium of the season in 3rd position. Rafa, he's going to cross the line to finish in 4th position. Morgan and RJW battling towards the flag as well. Great recovery from Morgan there after a drive-through penalty earlier. Don't see many drivers getting a drive-through and finishing in 5th. Bogan kept it going with a damaged front wing. He's in 7th. Petter in a Black Panther. He's on for his best result of the season in 9th. Merckx will cross the line in 10th. Bloodwinds was a lap down as we just wait for Wello then, who's trying, I think, still to set that fastest lap of the race. He does have it at the moment, so that's a bonus point at least for Welho. I suppose that's an advantage of when you're in this situation, when you're near the back and you get fresh tyres. He comes home in 11th, but he will get 3 points courtesy of that bonus point. But your winner for the 2nd race in a row. We said if you got that alternate strategy working in the top 10, you would most likely take the victory. Kango Con did that, and he extends his championship lead again. An absolutely superb race. He is really proving to be a force to be reckoned with. Was towards the top, let's not forget. Last season was so close to winning the championship there before it ended up being QVR Cookie, Primoz Miklovic, as you all know him from Challengers. Kango Con may be proving that in the future we could see him battling in the Challengers as well. A superb win for him. Marcus Towler in 2nd after the penalty, and J. Cole continues his point streak with a first podium of the season. These are the provisional results then, and I say provisional as I think there could be quite a few stewards' inquiries. Kango Con takes the victory. Marcus Towler is 2nd. J. Cole in 3rd. Rafa 4th. Morgan Ball is 5th. RJW Videos in 6th place. Bogan is 7th. Petter in 8th. Merckx in 9th. Black Panther rounds out the top 10. Velo gets 11th and that fastest lap point. Blood wins the final point and the final finisher. James retiring so unlucky on the final lap. Those old soft tyres, I think, had just worn out at the end, and we saw that from J. Cole losing out as well. Cartalundi retired from the race, as did Sniper Owens, Kasu, Sven, Lucky Finger as well. They were all the retirements from what was definitely a very interesting, I mean, we can all agree with that, a very interesting Grand Prix there today. So much action going on, so much happening. I don't think we're quite sure at any point who was going to. Well, we weren't quite sure up until the end of the second safety car, I think, who was going to take the victory in this race. It would have been interesting if it hadn't have been for that second safety car, whether we could have seen maybe we could have seen Kango Con head onto those tyres. Would he have held on to take the victory? We are going to try and get the top 3 drivers in then for the podium interviews. It's been another exciting race as well. So much going on with that. What was it? 4 wide? 4 wide was it after the first safety car? So much happening in all of that, and we are just waiting then for the drivers to come in, and we'll be able to get these interviews underway then with our top 3 drivers, and some of them are on their way in as well. So we might as well get this started with the man who finished in 3rd place, a first podium of the season for Jake Cole, one of the few drivers to stay out on that set of soft tyres when the second safety car came out. How difficult was it driving on those at the end of the race?
Yeah, they were quite burnt out. I don't know if you've seen, I was losing like almost a second or 2 seconds to Marcus and Kango like towards the end of that. So yeah, it was definitely very tricky to drive on those, but I'm just happy that I managed to get it in the end. I think there was a lot of stuff that went on behind me though, so I can't wait to see about that.
Yeah, I think we were 4 wide, like I said at one point, on the run down towards turn number 3. And I think almost 4 wide down towards turn number 4. And I'm not quite sure how it didn't end in a crash. It's been a great start for you this season. You've got points in every single race so far. Was a podium something you ever thought you'd manage this season?
Initially, yes. I'll admit, Imola and France really did not go my way. I think I was fighting for a podium in France, and Imola I disconnected about 3 times. Portimao just again wasn't one that ended up going my way either. So Austria, I'm surprised it was at Austria, but I'm not going to complain.
Yeah, definitely not going to complain. A great result from yourself. And next time, I mean, we saw plenty of overtaking today. Don't think we're going to see any at a week's time. How are you feeling about the Monaco Grand Prix?
Well, actually, I think the only PC race that they've done here, I won it, but I'm not actually here next week, so I can't wait to watch that back with everybody else, see how that's gonna go. But yeah, I'm not here for it next week, so I'll be back in. I think it's for Britain in 2 weeks' time. So yeah, I can't wait for it. I do just want to quickly say as well, Marcus, I give you full praise for that move around the outside. That was, that was the dead tires, but at the same time, I give you massive praise for that move because that was just extraordinary.
Yeah, I think it definitely was. I mean, I think I just caught the tail end of it on stream because I was thinking, oh, that part of the track he's gonna have to stay behind for another lap. But fair play to Marcus for making that one work, and fair play to yourself, J. Cole. First podium of the season. We'll see you in a fortnight.
Cheers, Luke.
Now we are going to chat to the man who did take the win out on track, but lost out with a 3-second time penalty. But still, a great result. Second place for Marcus Towler. You had plenty of battling going on in that race, especially with your teammate for tonight, Carter.
First of all, thank you to J. Cole for that the praise. But yeah, initially me and Carter we just wanted to switch. There was no point in battling out hard. We played the long game, switching, saving ERS, and then using ERS, and yeah, trying to pull the gaps from the cars behind.
Yeah, definitely seemed to work with that one. Just tell us about the moment. I think it was after the first safety car restart. It was yourself, Carter, I think Bogan, and maybe even Jacob was involved in that as well. It all looked like it was getting very close on quite a few occasions out on circuit.
Yeah, it's just about keeping a cool head, like being aware of where you have space and where you don't have space, hitting the breaking point, and I don't think there was too much damage, not any damage from myself at least, but I think most of us got away from that one unscathed.
Yeah, I think later on in the race we did see Bogan pick up a tiny bit of damage, but not quite sure where that one came from. And keeping it unscathed is definitely the name of the game at Monaco. How are you feeling about next week's track? If you race, of course, because you are the reserve, even though you've taken part in every race so far this season.
Monaco, let's be honest, it's not a lot of people's favorite track. But I do feel like it will be interesting. I'm looking forward to see the pace of people there. It can vary a lot. So yeah, excited for the challenge.
Yeah, I think it is definitely a challenge. You said it's not your favourite. You said it's not a lot of people's favourite tracks. Are you one of the few that actually likes Monaco, or do you agree with most of the others?
I mean, in my opinion, it's a critical part of Monaco is down to the setup. If you nail the setup, it doesn't matter if you don't like the track, because if you nail the setup, you can be fast. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think we all know as well. It's getting that track position and not really yielding it. Otherwise, you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. But congratulations, Marcus, on your first podium of the season. I'm sure we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Here we are, just waiting for KangoCon to join the session. He said he will be coming in 5 minutes, and he said that 4 minutes ago. So, can have a look there at the calendar, of course, for the rest of the season. Next time out, it will be the Monaco Grand Prix. Always a very challenging circuit, so make sure to catch that one at 8 p.m. Make sure to catch as well the rest of the League of Europe action that is happening throughout the rest of this week, because, of course, Saturday night is PlayStation night here in League of Europe, so make sure to check out all of the racing that is happening on there. Division 1 at the moment sees Justas leading the championship from Campbell, despite the fact that the Lithuanian driver has yet to claim a victory this season, so make sure to join James Head and Montana for that one at 6:30. And of course, there's the action in Division 2 down to Division 5 as well. And then later on in the week, you've got the F2 and the Endure Championship as well. So much going on around there. We are still waiting for KangoCon to join. Fair to say he got the strategy right in that one. Just maybe a bit of luck with that second safety car. Would have been interesting to see what would have happened if it wasn't for that. But we can ask the man himself. Here is our race winner for the second week in a row. It is XL KangoCon. Great result from you today. Obviously, qualifying in the top 10 on the medium tyres was key for you. Were you worried after the first safety car that you might struggle if it hadn't have been for that second one?
To be honest, I was a bit, but not on the tire wear, just because I knew people behind would catch up because I had no ERS, nothing left. So I knew the top 5 was maybe possible, not really much. But yeah, the lap in quali was quite bad. I mean, target was to do a 0.7, and I just failed on the 2 laps. So yeah, I don't really know what to think about the race, to be honest.
I mean, yeah, you seem to struggle obviously for pace at the start of the race, and then really come back into things as the soft runners were wearing out. Were you surprised, because you said yourself it was not the best lap in qualifying, were you surprised that managed to get you in the top 10? Because it seemed you were like 8th and 9th on the grid for an incredibly long time, just lots of other drivers obviously having trouble with the track limits.
To be honest, the aim was just to start on mediums. I mean, if I thought first I was going to be like P12 or even lower. So it was a surprise to be P9, I think it was at the end. But I was more surprised by the pace I had at the beginning, because I was just losing time because I didn't have any DRS because of the 2 first laps. But in all the corners and everything, I wasn't losing time at all. And really quickly, I was gaining time each lap in sector 2 and 3. And just in sector 1, I was losing time. So race pace was really good. But yeah, just quali, I think, messed up a bit everything.
Yeah, definitely fantastic race pace from yourself. You've extended that lead in the championship. Obviously, 2 wins in a row. How are you feeling going into Monaco?
That
says it all, I think. That says it all.
Yeah, it's Monaco. I don't know. I never raced in Monaco since F1 2017, I think. So I really don't know what to think coming into Monaco.
Yeah, I think it's. I think maybe some practice maybe in order for yourself, KangoCon, but not too hard. Congratulations on your second win of the season.
Thank you.
Yeah, that is pretty much it then for this stream. But as we've said a few minutes ago, if you want some more LOE action, there is PlayStation tomorrow night with all 5 tiers being streamed. Thank you to the drivers for joining me for the interviews. Thank you so much for you guys for watching, and I will see you in a week's time for the Jewel in the Crown, the PC tier, on the 18th of February. We'll be in Monte Carlo. Take care of yourselves, everyone, and I'll see you next time around. Goodbye.